everybody. I am Steph McPhee, and I am the community guide with the Growth Shift, and from the Women's Business Development Council of Florida. And so I wanted to take just a couple of minutes to tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do. And so our organization, as the Women's Business Development Council, has been around for over 20 years. And under that banner, we focus on certifying women business owners as women-owned. We focus on championing all of you with corporates and government entities to help you get the government contracts and corporate contracts that you've been looking to get. And we are all about building connections, because we know that the success in your business all comes down to those relationships, which is exactly why we are here tonight. The Growth Shift is a program that we actually launched earlier this year. And this comes from the passion of our founder, Nancy G. Allen. And she is been on a journey. Nancy, for those of you who know her, know that she has devoted her career and her life to helping support women in business. And this starts from whether you are starting a business, you're looking to grow your business, or you're looking to what's next for your business, legacying, exiting, all the different elements of your business. The Growth Shift came out of that passion because we realized that there were these three very big shifts that businesses go through, and all of the knowledge and all of the information that Nancy and our team has had from helping women go through that, we wanted to put that in one place where you would be able to access that. And that is the Growth Shift. And Nancy G. Allen, for anybody who doesn't know Nancy G. Allen, get ready. I have been so fortunate and blessed to have known this woman pretty much most of my career. I met her when I was doing supplier diversity at a corporate quite a few years ago, and I have been with her through a few iterations of my own career to now being a woman business owner. Today, Nancy is going to share some of her top tips. There are 10 tips actually on how to make allies and believers. And she'll tell you a little bit about where that came from. But this idea that you have to build those connections and how to do it. And so with that, I'm going to hand it over to our wonderful, phenomenal leader, global speaker and author, Nancy G. Allen.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Okay, so today, making allies and believers. So let me know in the chat if you have heard this quote before, that people do business with people they know, they like, and they trust. I can't actually see the chat, but I'll ask my team to monitor that for me. And then just put yes, you've heard this, or no, you haven't. And it's a pretty simple statement, but it has profound impact, and it is actually a powerful truth that people do business with people they know, they like, and they trust. What I'm going to do today is give you some tips on how you can get people, corporations, corporate representatives, business owners, potential clients to get to know you, to get to like you, and to get to trust you, because that's how you build a relationship with, which can then in turn lead to some contracts. And along the way, I'm going to share some stories with you, just because I think, that's how we really learn, is by stories, right? So here we go. So getting to know me. Steph said a little bit about me. I'm an author, I'm a coach, I'm a global speaker, and I'm really an advocate for women in business. And that's really part of my passion. And I am one of the lucky people in the world who gets to live her passion and her core values on a daily basis. So my core values are connections, creativity, and courage. And I get to exercise connections, creativity, and courage on a daily basis. So about this photo with my hair in my face, I have to just let you know that this is one of my favorite photos. And it was taken after a professional headshot session. So you know how a professional headshot goes. You pose one way, you smile, you turn your face, etc. It's pretty boring. And in the corner of the studio where I was having these photos taken was this huge tulle skirt. And I'd been eyeing the tulle skirt during the entire session, hoping that I could, have some fun with the skirt. And I don't know if by telepathy, the photographer knew that I was interested in this skirt, and she said, "Oh, you want to have some fun?" She put on the skirt, and her assistant started fanning my hair for a windswept, windblown look. And the photo that was taken before this one, my hair was in place. The photo that was taken after this one, my hair was in place. And she told me, after I told her how much I loved this photo, she said, "I almost didn't send it to you because it's not perfect." And I said, "That's why I like it, is because it's not perfect. It shows my joy, and it serves as a reminder that life is not perfect, that our journey as entrepreneurs is not perfect, but we can have a lot of fun along the way. There will be some moments where everything will be right in place where it's supposed to be. There will be other moments where not so in place, and then it'll go back to being in place again. So remember this photo as we go through the workshop today, and as you are in the breakout sessions, remember the photo too, because, let's just enjoy the journey. Good luck, make allies and believers. And you see, I'm holding this sign that says "Make Allies and Believers." And let me tell you the story behind this sign, which is what led to this workshop. So in 2012, the WeBank National Conference was in Orlando. And so for a year before June 2012, my office was the host council. And we had been preparing for this event that was going to bring 3,000 women from around the country, as well as sponsors and supporters of women-owned businesses. We're all going to bring them to the Peabody Hotel in Orlando and the Orlando Conference Center. And a year is what it took to prepare this. And I got there the day before, and as I arrived at the airport, I sent a text to my husband I think at that point I'd been married about 24 years. And I sent Joe a text and I said, "I've arrived safely. I'm on my way to the hotel." I was really nervous. I was nervous about 3,000 people, and, we're all perfectionists and we wanted everything to go off without a hitch. Well, Joe texted back to me 6 words: "Good luck, make allies and believers." And those 6 words really changed my life, because in those 6 words, I found the courage to do what I needed to do and not be nervous about it, because I thought, I know how to make allies and I know how to make believers. And as women business owners, as women in business, as women in general, we're really good at making allies and believers. So that's why we're doing this workshop, is because I want to remind you that you've got this. You know how to make allies and believers, and that's going to turn into contacts and contracts. So knowing what must be done does away with fear, and that's from Rosa Parks. And I love this quote because I'm a planner. I like to look at the goal, the process, and I like to set action plans. So I'm going to give you some tips and share some stories of women who did that and built relationships that actually led to some contracts. Right. So the first thing is how to help someone get to know you. I think I went up. Yeah. So how can you help someone get to know you? That's the first thing you need to do to build a relationship. And here's how you can do that. Number one is you can just show up, right? Showing up means attending networking functions. Now with the pandemic, we can attend a lot of networking functions via Zoom, right? So we're not limited to just how far we can drive, or, if we're gonna get on an airplane to go to these functions. We can attend functions clear across the world from the comfort of our offices. Another thing that I like to remind you when you're looking at which networking functions to attend, is that you definitely want to go where your clients and your potential clients go, but you want to go one step further and go where their clients go, right? So if you're a staffing company, for example, the human resources managers are your clients. They're looking for employees in the field of technology, for example. So you want to go to events where in the technology industry, so that you can find the right talent. And then you can go back to the human resources managers and say, if you want to bring to your company the right talent, this is what they're looking for. So that really sets you apart. Another idea to consider is to do your research, right? And you really want to speak the language of the person that you're meeting with. So how do you know how to speak their language? Well, you look at their website, you look at their annual reports. What's their focus? And the larger corporations all have their annual reports on their websites. So it's a really great idea to just read their annual reports. You'll see that they're focused on these 3 areas, and this is how what their action plans are to reach the goals that they have. So you can easily then start conversations with, I saw on your website that blah, blah, blah. Or I read on your LinkedIn page that you have a supplier diversity initiative, or you have a sustainability initiative. Another thing to do is to really look at joining industry groups on LinkedIn. We talked earlier about, Barb on our staff, who is really aces at LinkedIn. We've got some training that we're going to propose, and hopefully you all will attend, where she's just going to show you how to share posts. She'll show you how to tag people and groups, and that's really key to growing your LinkedIn connections. We don't have time to give you all those tools, but stay tuned, and we're planning something for you. And then on this page, also on this slide, I have a reminder that Google is your friend, right? You can use Google to your advantage to do some research. So I'm going to share with you right now two stories. I don't know why here we go. So the first is a story about, I'm calling it Napkins at the Theme Park. And I can't tell you what theme park it is, but it was a major theme park. And one of our members wanted to do business in this theme park. And she is in the sustainability industry, and she provides napkins, paper products that are sustainable. And here's what she did. So knowing that she wanted to provide a really good product, she went into this theme park and she collected sample napkins from all over the theme park, from the restaurants, from the kiosks, from the bars. And when she had a meeting with the category manager that buys napkins, she put her napkins next to the theme park's napkins. And she invited the supplier or the procurement officer to just do like a touch test, right? And see, is there a difference between which napkin would be their napkins, in other words. And they didn't find any difference as far as the touch and the feel and the strength of the napkins. And she went and said to them, the difference is my napkins are sustainable. And I saw on your website that you have a sustainability initiative. By bringing me on and the napkins that I manufacture, you'll be able to do 2 things. One is meet your sustainability goals. And the second is meet your supplier diversity goals, because I'm WeBank certified. Okay, so that's an example of how she did the research and from the research was able to present her product. Next, let me tell you about the Delaware connection. So I helped one of our members prepare for a matchmaker meeting. And this particular matchmaker, she got the name of the person that she was going to be meeting with. And I asked her, have you Googled that person? Let's say his name was Sam Smith. I said, have you Googled Sam Smith? And her reaction to me was, no, I think that's an invasion of privacy. I don't know that I would, try to find information out about Sam Smith. And I said, well, I'm going to challenge you to reconsider that, because you can do some research and you might be able to find something about Sam Smith that you can use to your advantage. So she, because she trusts me, she did the research and she came back and she said, he's from Delaware. I'm from Delaware. And I said, okay, well, how about when you're meeting with him, how about you start by saying that your company is based in Delaware because that's where you grew up and you established your company in Delaware for the following reasons. And I'll bet you he's going to say that he's from Delaware. And then that will give you an opportunity to make a connection. So again, really consider, as you're targeting corporations, as you're doing matchmaker meetings, as you're reaching out to people, do some research so that you can establish a connection. Right. Next, you want to get people to like you, right? So likability is a really interesting topic. And on the bottom of this screen, I have a link to 12 practices for improving likability. And they're pretty neat. And in this particular article is really well written and gives you some ideas and some tools that you can use. But basically, likability is friendliness, it's relevance, it's empathy, and it's realness. And again, people do business with people they know, they like, and they trust. So here are some ways that you can get people to like you. The number one way is for you to be a really great listener, right? And a lot of us don't have very good listening skills, but you can learn a lot if you're a great listener. The second way to get people to like you is by gratitude, by just saying thank you, right? People like to be appreciated. And if you're appreciating them, they're going to remember that. And then in WIFM, what's in it for me, that's what WIIFM stands for, is another way to get people to like you. And that's for you, it's a prompt for you to remember that everybody you meet, in the back of their head, they're wondering what's in it for them. What is this interaction, this 5-minute introduction that you're making, or if you're sitting through a matchmaker meeting or at a procurement roundtable, what's in it for the person, right? What are they going to get out of it that's going to make them look good? So let me share a story with you about mistaken identity. So one of our clients was invited to a matchmaker meeting. And the matchmakers, for those of you who aren't familiar, are an opportunity for you to meet one-on-one for 15 to 20 minutes with a corporate representative who selects you, right? So the corporation goes through the database, and let's say that they're interested in staffing companies. They see that you're a staffing company, you meet the regional focus, the guidelines that they have, and they ask for a meeting to be set up with you. So this member got this matchmaker meeting. She didn't know the company, so she started doing some research. She went onto their website, she read their annual report, she started following them on LinkedIn, and she felt really prepared for the meeting, except she was wondering, why do they want to meet with me? So she is a leadership an executive leadership coach, right? And this was pretty much a company, I think it was a healthcare company. Anyway, she said, okay, I'm prepared. I'm going to go. I'm going to listen to what it is they really need. So she got to the meeting. She introduced herself, and she said, so I've done some research on your company, and I'm wondering why it was that you wanted to have a meeting with me. And the corporate representative started talking about the fact that they needed some help with their website, that they were having some trouble with analytics for their website, and they were looking for someone who could help them with that. And now this member, remember I said, was an executive leadership coach. So obviously there's been some miscommunication, and she should not have been matched with this person. And so rather than say there's been a mistake, she took advantage of the situation. And she said, you know what, I am not an analyst. And this is what I do. I'm a corporate coach, and I specialize in women executives and minority executives with leadership coaching. And the person across from her said, oh, because this was a minority woman who was interested in getting some coaching. So our member was able to speak to her directly on what it is she does, right? So using her listening skills, she allowed the person to say, this is what I need. And then she, because of the research she had done, was able to say, that's not what I do, but I do this. And she mentioned that working with her was going to help with supplier diversity and the like. And I'm happy to report that she ended up with a contract. So the corporate representative went in there looking for one thing, didn't know they needed something else, and our member ended up with a nice contract. So again, using your listening skills and your research to your advantage. So this next story, I call Fortune Cookies and Thank Yous. So we had a member years ago who decided to set her company apart by showing gratitude and sending a gift to existing, past, and potential clients on the Chinese New Year. So she was of Chinese background, and she found a business owner who made some gourmet fortune cookies. And every year, right before the Chinese New Year, she would send boxes of these fortune cookies. And they would have some really cute sayings. For example, you know, I see a new supplier in your future, call me, or I see savings in your future, ask me how, things like that. And so she became known as the fortune cookie lady. And she told me how one time she was at a national conference, and she had some of the fortune cookies with her. When she met with a corporate representative, he said to her, I know your company. You're the fortune cookie company. We look forward to receiving your fortune cookies. Even though we've never done business with you, we always look forward to receiving your fortune cookies. And you know what? Let's see if we can work something out. She also ended up with a contract. So again, I want you to remember what's in it for me. That's the WIFM, right? What's in it for me? What can you do to set your company apart that is going to help the person that you're meeting with, right? Help them write the script, the story that's going to get you hired, because they want to look good. Help them look good. So the third the third building block is trust, right? So here's some ways that you can build trust. You can build trust by being a solutions provider. You can build trust by claiming expert status, and you know, selfish promotion here. in my book, I outline 10 different ways for you to claim expert status. And the third way is for you to be consistent, right? Regular outreach and being a solutions provider is definitely going to build some trust. So on this slide, I have the words "be obvious," and I want to caution and inspire you as a woman business owner to be obvious in your accomplishments, to do some bragging. You probably grew up like I grew up, where my mom told me, it's not all about you. Nobody wants to hear you bragging. That's not polite and that sort of thing. So I'm here to tell you, I love my mom, but she was wrong. When it comes to business, you have to brag. When it comes to business and developing relationships, you have to let people know what you're capable of, right? That's how you build trust. So what is on this slide is something that I pulled from one of our members from her capability statement. And I love the way she did this, because in 3 short snippets on her capability statement, she is building trust and she's building credibility. So if you'll just take a minute to read, she has what the service was that she did. So the first one says market and competitive research and digital strategy for a multinational company struggling in the US market. That was what she was charged to do, the contract that she had. And look at these results. The company used insight and strategy to increase sales from 3 million to over 16 million in 2 years, right? So 2 sentences tell exactly her accomplishment. And the same with the other 2 bits of information that she provided. So building trust is building your expertise and being obvious in your accomplishments, right? So don't ever hesitate to, when you're meeting someone, to let them know that you're an award-winning author, or that your company has won many community awards. If your company has been highlighted as one of the best places to work in your community, let the corporation know, let the corporate representative know that. That's not bragging, that's information sharing. Okay, and I'll tell you a secret, the guys are really good at this. We women are not so good. So I'm going to challenge you to get better and better at being obvious. Another thing that I like to remind you, that I want to remind you, is at the end of a meeting, you should always say, this was a great meeting, thank you. Can we set up a follow-up meeting? Be obvious, okay? You can also just say, this was a great meeting, thank you. What's the best way to keep in touch with you? And in many instances, the person may give you their personal email, right? Or the email that goes directly to them as opposed to the general email, or they'll give you their cell phone. But be obvious, ask for the follow-up, because if it was a great meeting, they're going to want to keep in touch with you, right? So ask how best you can do that. Next, I want to talk to you about, I can't do what you're asking, and here's why. This is a great story that one of our members just recently told us. So over the course of the pandemic, this member, one of her, had an existing contract with a client, and they came back to her and said, we got to cut the contract by 25%. And she was taken aback because they were fulfilling the contract. They'd gotten really good reviews. And quite frankly, she was counting on that money, right? She'd done the work. And so she didn't want to lose the client. She didn't want to alienate the client. And what she said was, okay, let me get back to you. I'm going to see how we can meet your request, but I've got to go back to my team. And let me come back to you at the end of the week. So she goes back to her office, and she, speaks to her team, and they figure a way out where they can make a proposal that they'll cut by 20%, not 25%. And this was a fairly large multi-million-dollar contract. So that 5% made a really big deal, right? It made a big impact. And what she did is she said to the client, in order for you to maintain your customer loyalty, because this client had clients, right? You'll have to keep offering, you'll have to keep XYZ as a product offering. And we facilitate you being able to offer that to your clients. And if we cut the contract by 25%, we're not going to be able to facilitate that for you. I've come up with a solution where we can reduce the cost by 20% instead of 25%, and you'll still maintain your client base. So her solution was to negotiate. And that's another thing that women aren't that great at, right? A lot of us are afraid to say, I can't go that far, or ask for more, right? So in her instance, the amount was 25%. She knew she was going to have to take a cut, right? And so she was able to negotiate 20% by showing the what's in it for me for the client. Okay, so she wrote that script. So the moral of the story is to remember to negotiate. Remember your clients have clients, and actually to always remember to do your homework. So here again is a summary of the 10 tips on how you can help someone to get to know you, to like you, and to trust you, so that they'll do business with you, right? First, work on your business, not in your business. So show up. A lot of small business owners spend a lot of time in their office as opposed to working on their business. That's what we mean by work on your business as opposed to working in your business. Show up. Don't forget to go where your clients' clients go. Number 2, research. Remember to speak their language, right? Do your homework and look at their website, speak their language. Check in on LinkedIn, join their pages, comment on their pages. Remember that Google is your friend. Be a great listener, okay? Be a person who listens and offers solutions after she has listened to what the other person is saying. Don't forget to say thank you. Always remember what's in it for me, for the other person. You want to be a solutions provider as opposed to someone who's always asking for business, right? Be the one who's providing the solution. And if your company can't provide the solution, be the gracious hostess and refer another company that you know that might be able to provide the solution, right? So always be willing to refer other people. Don't forget to claim expert status. And then finally, to be consistent, right? And consistency has to do with your branding. It has to do with, sending out fortune cookies once a year, right? Remembering that the more you are in contact with your potential clients, and I'd say with your existing clients, it's a really good thing. It's a good thing to, on a quarterly basis, reach out to your existing clients and say, how are we doing? What else can we do to help you? What can we do to better fulfill this contract, right? The more consistent you are in meeting with your clients, the more likely they are to trust you, and the more likely they are to renew contracts. Okay, so those are the tips that I have. And at this point, I'm going to stop the share and ask the team if there were any questions or comments.
Question about when you talked about the capability statement, when is a good time to hand over that capability statement, Nancy?
Oh, soon. If you're in a matchmaker situation, that's probably the first thing you should hand over is the capability statement. And I'll share this secret with you too. When you are face to face with someone, if you hand them a piece of paper, they're going to stop listening to you and they're going to read that piece of paper. So the best thing to do in a matchmaker situation is to present them with a folder that has your capability statement in it, and you just help them read it. You have the same exact copy and say, let me highlight a few things from my capability statement. But yeah, in a matchmaker situation, that should be the first thing that you hand out. It should be easy to find on your website as well. Okay, and the really, really good news about capability statements is that they are not static. So you can update your capability statement on a regular basis, and you can have more than one capability statement. So if you're a marketing company, for example, and you've had some marketing clients in the healthcare industry, and you've had marketing clients in sports or entertainment, you see how that might be too busy on one capability statement. So you can have two. You can highlight your healthcare marketing. You can highlight your sports marketing, etc. And that's not a bad thing. That's actually a very good thing to do, is to have more than one capability statement, because you don't want that page to be, it's a one sheet, right? You can use the front and the back, but you do want it to have some white space, and you want it to have some recognized information based on who you're speaking with.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you to all those who joined us out there virtually. We shared this on a few things. So bye.